but something next to normal.
They said it.
Yes,
I think that's the most, like, poignant moment in almost anything I've ever seen.
Hello and welcome. My name is Nick Flip. I'm a composer and a vocalist, and this is...
Sammy Copes. I'm a psychiatric nurse practitioner here to give my mental health takes on Next to Normal.
And so far we're on part number 9. Things are going down. For better, for worse. And the climax is here of the show. What are you feeling going into it?
I am so back and forth. I've had such a hard time just like putting myself in everyone's shoes and being like, this sucks for everyone.
Yeah, this does sucks for everybody.
That's my
for
summary so far.
Except for you, the audience. I
Yeah.
hope you've been enjoying this. If you have been enjoying it, hit a like on the video, please. And maybe offer a sub to help my channel grow. With that in mind, we also have a Patreon. If you want to help be a part of the next decision that we react to, please join the Patreon so you can vote on what we react to next. And I'm making Gilgamesh the Musical, which is a musical all about the Epic of Gilgamesh, the oldest piece of literature ever. Yeah, it's pretty old. 4,000 years ago or whatever. So if you want to check that out, that would help bring awareness to it. All right, let's get into part number 9. Let's do it. All right.
I am more than memory. I am what might be. I am mystery. Come closer.
Dan.
Come closer.
Diana, there's nothing there.
I'm old as time and forever young. I am every song that will stay unsung. I'll find you,
God damn it!
remind you.
Natalie!
Diana, come back here!
Till you name me, you can't save me. This is one old game that I can play so well. I'm alive, I am so alive. And the medicine fails and the doctors lie. I'm alive, I am deathified. I'm alive, I'm so alive. I'm alive.
Okay, go to your dad.
I was stopping to say two things. One, isn't it crazy like how that song comes back? But
Yes.
it's totally different and
So different.
feeling like it
Yeah.
almost like I get like my heart is like weighted now. It feels like heavy in my chest.
I know.
To hear that song
Now
again.
that we're on the other side of things.
Yeah, before it was like I'm alive. I'm
Yeah, I was
alive,
like
I'm
jiving. I was like, nice.
And this time I'm like, oh God, he's
back.
alive. yeah, it doesn't feel as good, even though it's almost like compositionally
I
the
know.
exact same.
But even I was thinking about it, like even the way that he looks at Dan as he's like climbing up on the counter and while he's singing this part of the song is like he's so vengeful. You know, whether that's about Dan sort of trying to forget him or trying to move on, or whether it's like Dan kind of trying to keep Diana from him or trying to get Diana to move on. That's what I was thinking about. He just like in his eyes were like wild when he, especially in the moment when he climbed up on the counter, he just was like staring at Dan like.
Yeah. And also like he's back in the light, like right
Yeah.
next to Dan and stuff. So
Yeah, he's back.
he's back.
The other part I wanted to mention too, I was thinking about it during the song, is that he says like, you know, I'm more than memory, I'm everything that could be, or you know, the lyric is something like that. And it's like the only person that that's true for is Diana. I mean, I know he's her delusion, but like that's the only person that applies to.
Mm.
And I think she's so desperately holding on to that of like what could have been.
Yeah.
And that comes back around, you know, we talked about it a tiny bit of like how to balance the past with also the present and the future too.
Mm. Let's see if it turns off again. Nope.
I'm alive. I'm so alive. I'm alive.
Okay, go to your dance. I have to take my mom to the doctor.
Well, I'll drive.
No,
I'm alive.
Hey, let me help you.
no, you can't.
Diana!
Just go.
I'm alive.
Look, I'll try to come later.
How's she doing that? The enunciation.
It's not regrown. What happens when the past comes off, and then you find your brain was always in another bone.
Relapse is very common, Diana. It's upsetting that the delusional episodes have returned, but not entirely unexpected.
They tried a million meds and they strapped me to their beds and they shrugged and told me that's the way it goes. When finally you hit it, I asked you just what did it. You shrugged and said that no one really knows. What happens if the medicine wasn't really in control? What happens if the cut, the burn, the break is never in my brain or in my blood, but in my soul? What happens if the cut, the burn, the break was never in my brain or in my blood, but in my soul?
Make up your mind, this is clarity. Clarity that you did not have before. The treatment is strong, but lasts only so long. And maybe your mind's needing more.
Let's say that's not it.
The ECT is powerful, it gave you your life back, but the effects fade and additional treatments are almost always needed.
That wasn't on the form.
Make up your mind that you'll try again. Make up your mind there are moments of light. The one thing that's sure is that there is no cure, but that doesn't mean we don't fight. We'll return to talk therapy. There's still work to do.
Baby, I'll let myself fall. Watch me unfold.
We might have to look at
Baby, the fall
a new drug regimen.
isn't so bad.
There are other promising therapies, EMDR for instance, or TMS.
Watch me, I'm falling. Watch me, I'm flying. Somehow surviving.
Diana, you have a chronic illness, like diabetes or hypertension. If left untreated, it could be catastrophic.
And there's no stigma in taking mental health medication, just like you would take your diabetes medication.
We'll talk
I
about it.
understand.
I just wanna let's
But there has to be another way.
Stay with me, try again. Don't walk out on treatment, don't lose what you won. You've struggled for years, but you've only begun.
My first psychiatrist told me that, according to the manual, grief that continues past 6 months is pathological and should be medicated. 6 months. For the life of my child. Who makes these decisions?
It's a guideline, nothing more.
Yes. Nothing more.
Stay with me, try again. Is medicine magic? You know that it's not. We know it's not perfect, but it's what we've got. It's all that we've got.
Goodbye, Dr. Madden.
really wanted to know what you would think about that whole thing.
I mean, I like the song from his perspective because it's very true. This is what we have. It's not perfect. To go back to one of her lyrics, like, what if the medicine was never in control? It's not meant to be, you know. And then it comes back to his line of sort of like, not in quite this bit of a harsh way, but it is sort of a make up your mind. You know, where do you want to be, and where are you in your process and your journey? And we can't push anyone to be where they're not. You know, we just kind of try to be there for them, in meeting them where they are, and then hopefully, you know, taking the journey with them, basically. I think she has been invalidated in her process of people, providers, not empathizing, that grief is pathological, it should be medicated, things like that, is not exactly the best way to convey things, even, if technically, sure, that's the case. But it's all very much personal decision making. So she's not in a place where she's ready. And that's hard.
Yeah, I mean, you've also, have you ever had a patient that said, I'm better off without you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It happens fairly frequently, and tying back in a lot of the things we've been talking about in terms of like the medications don't always feel great. You don't always feel like yourself on them. There can be awful side effects, that come with them that don't necessarily feel worth it and things like that, or people just don't want to be medicated. And so what I try to do is just still, like I said, be there to support them and follow them along the journey and say, like, okay, what we do here is your choice. Can we still try to at least, like, can we check in a little bit and see where you're at then, and, make compromises and just talk and be connected still. Because I think at the end of the day, actually, honestly, if anything, the connection with positive providers, positive people in your life is going to be almost stronger and almost more effective in a lot of different ways than any medication or treatment is going to be. This is sort of the basis of treatment and humanity and connecting with people.
One thing I found a little bit troubling from this whole part was the notion that people could take away the feeling that that was the right choice. And it's hard to say if that is or isn't the right choice, because we don't, this show's only like 10 minutes longer, not 10 years longer or
right.
20 years longer, when consequences from this sort of decision can still manifest. What would you say towards her decision making in that moment? Is that something you would recommend for her to do?
I can't recommend anything for her to do. That's completely, like I said, her choice, in terms of what she's ready for.
Logistically,
all I would just say is that I'm still here for you, if you feel ready to come back, basically.
Logistically, you can't, but, he actually mentioned some treatments. I guess maybe, you would know, obviously, like, the effects of all the treatments, all available treatments. For him, he was trying to, like, keep her within his care.
I thought he did well in this song, and just trying to be, like, sort of gentle about it and not pushing her, and also being realistic of, like, the treatments aren't perfect, but this is what we have.
Yeah, for me, I view this as sort of sad to the state of, like, who knows what the show wanted to convey, but for me it conveys that mental health isn't working. Like, or the treatments for mental health aren't working. And I think a lot of people could look at that and say, if I watch this show and I'm feeling my own feelings, I would lean towards Diana's, and that's a good thing. But I don't like that, actually. I think what's more endearing is, because obviously you see both sides of it, and you know that she is taking a decision that does make sense. But what I fear is that people will large scale look at that and say, that's a failed mental health. This is a failed mental health treatment, and it won't work for me, and that would be a terrible thing.
Yeah, I can definitely see where people would come from that perspective, but I think maybe that's why reacts like these are helpful, to have then somebody talk through, like,
this is nuance,
the reality of things. I don't know. I like the way that he conveyed things, because I did think it was very realistic, and just like he said at the end, that it's a chronic illness, and it's okay for it to be treated just the same that you would take care of any other physical chronic illness. I think it's hard, because truthful and realistic takes on mental health treatment don't always paint it in the most, like, sunshine and rainbows light.
That's my problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I see a lot of people
Which
that
it's
talk.
not.
Yeah, but the problem I see is like
But-
a lot of people on the internet will say mental health is a
know.
scam.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I see what you do for people, and that's baloney.
Yeah.
And then I see this, and this actually got me a little bit like annoyed because I was like,
Yeah.
because
Well, I
people
mean-
could see that and go feel validated. Oh, mental health is a scam, and I hate
Right.
that.
I know.
So I know, sorry,
And
it's
then
a
you
long
think back
conversation.
on, like, you know, the previous providers that she's had where things didn't go so great. And then even people who have been involved in mental health treatment before and had bad experiences because of the provider or whatever it was, don't feel ready to go back again. And that's hard, too, because they tried, you know, and
Yeah.
then they had a bad experience there. So,
Yeah, he listed 2 treatments, and I just was wondering if you knew what those were. He said, "Oh, we have three letters, blah blah blah, and RTI or something."
It's medicine.
I forget the 2 ones he said. I'm trying to find them.
Decision.
It's medicine. Perfect body. It's what we've got. It's all that we
No, I can't. I don't know if I want to try to find them.
didn't he say, wasn't he just talking about ACT?
He said ECT, and then he said R something.
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah, I was just hoping maybe you knew, because I was like, oh, she would probably know what those are.
And should be medicated
I'll edit this, but let me try to find it.
according to the manual. Grief that can.
Yeah, this is before this.
or hypertension. Diana
Oh, there it is.
regimen. There are other promising therapies. EMDR for
Oh, I totally missed that he. I don't know how I missed that completely.
Yeah, so what is EMDR?
Okay, so EMDR is awesome. It's a trauma-specific therapy. So it has nothing to do with medication or anything, and it stands for, I always have to say it slowly, eye movement desensitization reprocessing.
Oh, I've seen videos of this.
Yeah, so it's a cool thing where, long story short, basically, any trauma memories get stored in your brain in a very different and sort of incorrect way, if we want to call it that, as opposed to just like a normal memory. You had a normal day, it gets stored, it gets processed, you can look back at it fine, all's good. With a trauma memory, it's stored in such a way that it could activate so many different areas of your brain anytime you are reminded of that trauma in a lot of different ways. Actually, for people it can be like a scent, a sight, a word, one like deja vu type moment and things like that, and it just all comes
Like a trigger.
crushing back, a trigger, basically in re-experiencing the trauma all over again, basically, or being very triggered by, it's talked about a lot with like fireworks and things like that, people who get triggered by like the really loud noises and things, that it's just a bodily, and physiologic response at that point. And so essentially what EMDR does is it works with eye movements, so the therapist is doing that with you, to try to restore those memories, basically, so that they are sort of stored like normal memories again, so that the reactions and the triggers that come with them are hopefully lessened. And I think, honestly, it's one of the greatest things for trauma and PTSD that we have out there. So I try to get as many of my patients who have experienced trauma and having a really hard time with that into EMDR as I can.
Would you recommend that for her a little bit? You don't have to go
yeah.
into detail. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that could be really great for her, because it's the difference with it too versus like conventional talk therapy is, I think some people like, and of course some people don't like, the idea of just like sitting on a couch and spilling all your feelings and
Yeah, that's
talking
true.
about a trauma over and over again. It's not to say like that's exactly how it goes, but some people are like, I don't want to talk about this. And EMDR is a way to still get into trauma therapy, but with less of the just kind of like talking about it and going over it. And it's more so about helping the reaction and the physiological
interesting.
responses to
That's
it.
so cool.
Yeah. And then TMS is sort of another treatment that sort of falls into like an ECT category, in that it's an alternative, like non-medication based treatment. So that stands for transcranial magnetic stimulation, where with ECT is sort of a lot more invasive, basically, in terms of what they have to do, that they have to put you under anesthesia, and what they're
Oh,
doing
wow.
during the treatment is really intense and things like that. But TMS is less so. So there's no anesthesia. You're totally awake during the whole thing. You can drive yourself to and from and everything. It's basically like a little cap that they put on your head.
That's where the hat comes from, I thought, from the other episode.
Oh,
Yeah. I feel like there should be a hat involved.
It's not a hat for the doctors, though.
No, I know. Yeah.
Like a little cap that they put on your head, and it has magnets placed in certain places that are meant to stimulate different areas of the brain. Yeah, so that one's really cool. Of course, when it comes to the effect, you could say usually sort of the stronger treatments may have the potential for greater effect, but there are definitely a lot of people...
Risk reward.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a lot of people that can have benefit with TMS as well. Primarily, it's used for depression, OCD, things like that.
Yeah, probably not for something as difficult as... I mean, it could if she wants to take a little lighter approach.
Usually it's not kind of recommended like for bipolar disorder and things, but I think it's also, if it's something maybe she would agree to, it's a little less invasive.
Right.
There's not like the side effects, like as dramatic of side effects. There's really actually very few side effects as far as we know at this point. Like the memory loss and things is not a factor as much in things. So maybe an alternative treatment. I don't know if you can actually get it approved for bipolar disorder.
I wanted to ask those questions. Sorry this took so long for the questions, but I've been wanting to ask those questions since I watched this show. And I literally, in my react, was like, I'm not going to comment on this until I talk with her about it.
Yeah. It is interesting, that at least we have some alternative treatments and things to think about these days, that it's not necessarily just medication or just shock treatment, like one extreme or the other, that there can be some things in between too.
Yeah.
And I think EMDR and therapy especially, they're really working at getting to the root cause of an issue, which is for her going to be kind of the most important thing.
I think everything has improved so much in the last, like X amount of time, any time span you say, it's gotten better since then.
Yeah, I think even just this, having an open conversation about things, being able to like explain and give, accurate information and decrease stigma and just open the doors to things. I think, that these days makes a huge difference for people too.
All right, let's jump into it. And that's why this is going on YouTube. All right, let's keep going. You ready?
Yes.
Sorry, I'll back up just a little bit so we can know where we were.
But it's what we've got.
That's cool.
It's all that we've got.
Goodbye, Dr. Madden.
Yeah, I just hate how empowering this looks right now for that moment.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but obviously she is
Yep.
also exhausted.
Exactly. I see where you're coming
course
from.
she
Don't
is.
worry.
He said I could do more ECT or go back on the meds.
You said more than that. To be fair.
I'm gonna take you to your dance. Mom, it's time you start thinking of your own happiness.
It's not happiness, it's Henry.
You love him.
Mom, he can't just walk out on your doctor.
Maybe I've lost it at last. Maybe my last lucid moment has passed. I'm dancing with death, I suppose. But really, who knows? Maybe I'm tired of the game, of coming up short of the rules, of the shame. And maybe you feel that way too. You see me, a girl full of anger and hope, a girl with a mother who just couldn't cope, a girl who felt caught and thought no one could see. But maybe one day she'll be free.
I think this is the most important moment in this entire show.
No, really, I'm all ears. But where has all this caring been for 16 years? For all those years I prayed that you'd go away for good.
might be dying. I cried for all we'd never be. But there'll be no more crying. Not for me. Things will get better, you'll see. Not for me. See, not for me. Not for me. Not for you'll see. Maybe we can't be okay. But maybe we're tough and we'll try anyway. We'll live with what's real. Let go of what's past. And maybe I'll see you at last. I don't believe you. "17 years ago, your brother died of an intestinal obstruction. He was 8 months old. I know I couldn't say that to you before. I'm sorry. We wanted to give you a normal life. I realize I have no clue what that is. I don't need a life that's normal. That's way too far away. But something next to normal.
They said it.
Yeah, something next to normal. That's the thing I'd like to try.
Normal's overrated.
Close enough to normal to get by. We'll get by. We'll get by. Okay. Now go to your dance.
Oh, I think that's the most like poignant moment in almost anything I've ever seen. I feel like that it just ties so many pieces together. Like, to go back to, what the doctor was saying of sort of like the make up your mind moment of having to get to almost sort of, rock bottom and deciding which rock bottom is truly the bottom and where you're going to go from there. And I think this was that moment for her in figuring out, like, she's here, Natalie's here, Dan's here, and, unfortunately the son is not, but she still has things going for her right now, and so how can they take that and still make a life of that, without ever forgetting him, but being able to balance all the pieces too. And I just think my heart is so happy for Natalie just to have some form of validation too of everything that she's gone through and that the ways that she suffered as well. And this is just like all she's ever wanted.
I might have to do another react of this. No, I'm not actually. But I might have to watch this again because it really felt like that's the first time she looked her in the eyes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just got that feeling. Like, I just don't remember her really looking into her daughter's eyes before.
Yeah.
And that there I really felt her connection with her daughter.
I know. This was the first time they ever actually had, like, a meaningful conversation of not just, like, half connecting, basically, or good enough, but not actually good enough.
Yeah, I guess the only, I totally agree with you. The only thing I feel, though, is, like, it doesn't feel so fulfilling from that moment. Like she says things will get better, but I don't feel a lot of like personal in that. I feel like
I don't know that she feels it right now.
Yeah.
Either.
But
and
that's
that doesn't
like-
necessarily surprise me.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
She doesn't trust
sometimes you
herself,
gotta
so-
fake it till you make it.
Yeah,
know,
she
and
should at
at
this
least
point
she's-
for her daughter.
At least she's acknowledging it. And I think
Yeah,
that's the very
totally
first
true.
step of things.
Nice way to put that into my. And I couldn't say it. I didn't know what to say. I was like, I think I'm being a bad guy here. But yeah, what you're saying is totally right. All right, we have to end it.
Oh.
Yeah, but we're gonna do another episode right now. We're gonna record it while we're on the train. But folks, thank you for watching. Hope you. That was a lot of talking, that one, just because I feel like there was so many things that were introduced that weren't able to be talked about yet until they manifested. Just like, with like, treatment and drugs, it takes time to sort of understand what's going on. And I think time is going by in the show, and you can start seeing now the end result of a lot of the introductions of concepts in the show. So so cool. I found that to be really enjoyable, even for me, because I was like, she's got to react to this. And for me, I got a lot of closure from some of those conversations.
I feel like the show itself tied a lot of pieces together too.
Yeah.
Or is trying to.
It's trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah. As best it can with everyone having their own problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Anyway, the show is continuing, and we are not. We'll catch you in the next episode. If you can, hit a sub on the video and maybe a like as well, and we'll see you in the next video. We're going to get to it right now. You ready? All right.
Bye.
Say bye.
Bye.
Catch you on the flip side. And a huge thank you to all of my patrons. All of you make this possible. I appreciate all the support.
The flip, the flop, the flippity flip, the flipsy T, Flippinator. You got the flip on the left, you got the flip on the right. That's a flip, man. The flip, the flop, the flippity flip, the flipsy T, Flippinator.